Now back to Inside West Virginia Politics with Mark Curtis.
Welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. We're continuing our discussion on education here at the Governor's Mansion, the beautiful mansion. Coming up next, we have Dave Perry, President of the West Virginia Board of Education. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Adrian. It's a pleasure.
And obviously, you're about to start a very big listening tour coming up tomorrow, statewide listening tour. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we're very excited. We have 6 tours planned throughout the state, 2 for each congressional district. And the first one will be October 7th in Mingo County at Mingo Central, at which time we hope to draw parents, teachers, business persons, so all the stakeholders relevant to education. And I think it's a golden opportunity for people to present their ideas about education.
The one group you didn't mention in there was the students. Can students come? If I'm a high school junior and I've got some ideas on how to improve the education system in West Virginia, can I come voice my opinion to the president of the Board of Education?
Good point, Mark. Yes, absolutely, you want students to participate. And we've gone further at our December board meeting. We have a group of students coming in there to listen to them as well. And I think students quite often are a lost group that educators don't listen to. And they have a great deal to offer relevant to improvement and process. After all, they're the victims, so to speak.
Obviously, listening tour, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu from back with the education bill when there was the listening tour around. What else are you trying to get out of this, and what do you want to know now that education reform and that big bill has already kind of gone through?
Well, we want to look at curriculum, policy 2510. We want to look at more flexibilities in the counties. We want to look at the opportunity that we have as far as number of hours, credit hours that are required, and those things that affect students at the front level.
I know one of the big things was getting the support services, the wraparound services, they call them counselors, mental health professionals. It strikes me that we've just had 2 rather tragic major stories, the young man dying on the football field in Roane County, a young man in a car accident in Lincoln County. How much help are we going to get for those students? Because obviously it's not a thing that goes away after the funeral. There's a lot of grieving. How much will these support services help students in need?
Well, unfortunately, as you said, when it's over, the services go away. But there are services that are definitely needed, and I think the governor's program on communities and schools helps offer the kinds of services we're interested in as well, to provide that integral part of relations to students who have an identity within the school system.
Now, wraparound services was a big part of that education bill. How much of that bill and some of that funding that we were promised to go to our schools has already been implemented?
We're talking about school nurses, guidance counselors, school psychologists, and of course that was a local decision as to how they would use that money.
I broached the issue with Kathy Justice, the First Lady, earlier because attendance is the cornerstone of that Communities and Schools program, which we know is very successful if we get the students to school. We have another problem outside of those districts this year. Absenteeism is up again. How do we address that and get kids in school?
Well, as we know, the state absenteeism is 92.2%, and we know that anything that exceeds 18 days is considered to be an absence. And we have to address absences as excused or unexcused. We have many students that are missing 30 and 40 days, Mark.
So how do we combat that? Because obviously there's a lot that you can do when the kids are in school, but if they're not coming to school, they can't get some of those services that they may need.
Well, I think the first problem is that we have so many broken families, and we need to address the families, the grandparents, and the students themselves to try to provide a greater interest and provide incentives for those students to come to school. We've tried to punish our way out of this thing for years, and it hasn't worked, so we've got to look at other areas.
Is part of it getting away from the traditional education of reading, writing, arithmetic, and finding those students that say, you know, I want to be an air conditioning, an HVAC technician, or I want to be a plumber, and finding trade schools and places for them to go because they may not fit in a traditional school setting? Is that the kind of thing that incentivizes them to show up? If
Absolutely.
There's something they like?
They have to show and see relevance to their content curriculum and what they're doing. And unfortunately, relevance hadn't been shown. The other thing I think we've done, we've bored children to death with time on task, with testing and so forth, and not provided the opportunity just simply to make school fun again. You know, when we were in school, it was fun. We had a recess in the morning, we had a recess in the afternoon, we had school programs and so forth. It was fun.
A lot has already been done with education reform here in West Virginia, but is there anything that you would like to see more done? Obviously, you were a lawmaker for a number of years. Anything that you want to see come up come next session?
Well, I think we have to address the issue of continuing education. We need to provide time for continuing education. Unfortunately, we're doing continuing education during the school year, and we have teachers missing a lot of school by going to continue education during the school day. So we need to provide a block of time for continuing education, much like Virginia did a few years ago.
I want to mention, we talked about the first listening session is tomorrow night, October 7th at Mingo Central High School in Mingo County. There are 6 listening tours altogether, 6 listening sessions. We're going to put a graphic on the screen with those schools and the dates they're happening. Get out and talk to the educators about what you want to see improved in your community schools. We want to thank Dave Perry, President of the West Virginia Board of Education, for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the school year. We'll have you back.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much.
More of Inside West Virginia Politics after this break.